Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we try to make sense of all the complex data out there and pull out the key insights for you. Navigating the world of financial reports can sometimes feel like looking for one specific star in a really crowded sky. It's a lot, but that's what we do here. Today, we're taking a really close look at the Global Stock Exchanges Market Report 2025-2033. It's from Cognitive Market Research. Our mission, basically, is to cut through all those billions and trillions, find the most important trends, and show you the, frankly, astonishing growth these markets are experiencing. We'll go from 2021 right through the projections for 2033. So get ready to understand not just what's happening, but maybe why it matters so much in the grand scheme of things.
And you're absolutely right. It's quite a journey these numbers paint, almost exponential growth in less than a decade, really. What's really fascinating here is just the sheer scale of it all. This report gives us that big picture view, global performance tracking from 2021, which was already pretty strong, right up to these pretty ambitious forecasts for 2033. So let me give you the headline figures first, just to grab your attention. Back in 2021, the global market revenue was $287.079 billion.
Okay, nearly 300 billion.
Exactly. Now, fast forward to 2025, the projection is $670 billion.
Wow, more than doubled in just 4 years.
Yeah, but here's where it gets, well, truly staggering. By 2033, the forecast hits $3,649.41 billion.
Wait, say that again? 3,000?
$3,649 billion. So yeah, over $3.6 trillion.
That's astronomical.
It is. And it represents a global compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 23.6%.
23.6%, compounded annually.
Precisely. So like you said, this isn't just, steady growth. It feels more like a seismic shift, really reshaping the whole financial future.
A seismic shift, yeah, that feels right. These aren't just small steps. It sounds like a major recalibration of, economic weight around the world. So, okay, beyond those huge headline numbers, what's driving this? And where is it happening? Geographically, I mean. Where's the most dynamic growth? Let's maybe break it down region by region.
Absolutely. That's where the nuance is. So if we start with North America, it's a powerhouse, as you'd expect. The market there was about $116.5 billion in 2021. The projection for 2033, $1,430 billion, so over $1.4 trillion.
Still huge growth then.
Definitely. The CAGR is strong, 23.258%. But what's really interesting is that it's not just the U.S. driving it all, even though it's the biggest chunk. There are some surprising pockets of faster growth, too.
Okay, I'm guessing the U.S. is still the giant in the room, right? Projected over $1 trillion by 2033.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market is projected to hit $11,107 billion by 2033. Its CAGR is just under 23%. It's massive, reflecting that established infrastructure and constant innovation.
Right. But you mentioned surprising pockets, so it's not all about the U.S. dominance.
Exactly. Look at Mexico. Within North America, Mexico actually has the highest growth rate. Its CAGR is predicted to be 25.113%.
Over 25%. Wow. What's behind that?
Well, a big part of it seems to be this whole near-shoring phenomenon, companies moving supply chains closer to the U.S. and Canada.
Ah, right. So that brings investment.
Loads of it. Foreign direct investment, more industrial activity, which means more companies listing on the Mexican exchange, more trading. It all adds up. It suggests, a really rapidly developing market down there.
That makes a lot of sense, connecting those manufacturing shifts to the exchange activity. And Canada.
Canada's very solid, too. A CAGR just over 24%. Strong ties to the U.S., stable financial sector, if it's the picture.
Okay, North America, strong overall, U.S. dominant, but Mexico's the speedster. Got it. Now let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, another established hub. Are we seeing similar numbers there or at a different kind of story?
Europe's also showing really substantial growth. It went from about $74 billion in 2021, projected to reach nearly $895 billion by 2033.
So also very strong growth.
Very strong. The regional CGR is 23.132%, so very close to North America's overall rate. And what's interesting in Europe is the consistency across the major economies. You look at Germany, the UK, France, they're all posting CGR somewhere in that 22 to 24% range.
Germany leading the pack.
Germany's the largest market, projected at about $214 billion by 2033, with a CGR just under 23%. But the UK is actually growing slightly faster, projected CGR over 24%.
Interesting. So what does that tell us? Just stable, mature markets doing well?
Pretty much. Strong companies, lots of institutional money, stable regulations. It all underpins that steady, robust growth across the board. Italy, Spain, Switzerland, the Nordics. They're all showing similar strong CAGRs, mostly in the 21-23% range.
Okay, so reliable growth from the big players. But is there an equivalent to Mexico in Europe? A pocket of even faster growth?
There is, actually. When you look at the category labeled Rest of Europe, so the smaller, perhaps less mature markets lumped together, that segment shows the highest regional CAGR.
Oh, really? How high?
It's projected at 25.647%.
Wow. Okay, so similar to Mexico's rate. What's driving that, do you think?
It's likely a mix of things, maybe increased integration with the wider EU financial system, perhaps specific policy reforms in some of those countries to attract investment and encourage companies to list. It suggests that financial activity is broadening out. Capital is finding opportunities beyond just London, Frankfurt, Paris. These smaller, maybe more agile economies are catching up fast.
That's a really important point. Don't just look at the headlines. Sometimes the fastest growth is happening just off the main stage.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving east. Asia Pacific. This is the region everyone talks about when they mention rapid growth, right?
Absolutely. And the numbers back it up. Asia Pacific started at about $60 billion in 2021 and is projected to hit a truly remarkable $802.87 billion by 2033.
Over 800 billion.
Okay, and the gross rate. The regional CAGR is 24.028%, noticeably higher than both North America and Europe overall. It really highlights how pivotal this region is becoming for the global financial system.
And China, presumably, is the main engine there.
China's definitely leading in terms of sheer size. Its market is projected to be over $321 billion by 2033, with a CAGR just under 24%. Huge domestic economy, ongoing market reforms. It's a giant. Japan also shows solid growth, around 23% CAGR, reflecting its deep, sophisticated markets.
Okay, so the big players are strong. But given that the whole region's growing faster than others, are there specific countries really pushing that average up, like we saw with Mexico and rest of Europe?
Yes, definitely. Two standouts in Asia Pacific are India and Taiwan.
Ah, interesting. What are their growth rates looking like?
India's projected CAGR is 24.84%, and Taiwan's is even slightly higher at 25.01%.
Both around 25% then. So what's the story behind that rapid growth?
Well, for India, it seems to be driven by a combination of factors. You've got this massive, growing middle class, rapid digitalization. Think about the India stack, making it easier for people to invest and government efforts pushing financial inclusion and getting more domestic companies listed. Retail investors are piling in.
Right, the whole digital finance boom there.
Exactly. And for Taiwan, it's a bit different. Its exceptional growth seems tightly linked to its dominance in the global semiconductor industry.
The chips.
The chips. The huge global demand means massive investment, R&D, trade, and all that activity fuels its stock exchange. It's a great example of how a specific, globally critical industry can really turbocharge a nation's capital market.
That really paints a clear picture. Macro trends, specific industries. It all feeds into these national exchange numbers. Much richer than just seeing the figures alone. Okay, let's pivot now to South America, a region that's had its ups and downs economically, but the report suggests pretty robust expansion for stock exchanges.
That's right. South America as a whole started at nearly $13 billion in 2021 and is projected to reach almost $159 billion by 2033. The regional CGR is strong again, 23.507%, very much in line with North America and Europe.
And Brazil leads the way, I assume.
Yes, Brazil is the dominant market, projected to hit over $81 billion by 2033, with a KGR slightly above the regional average, almost 24%. Diverse economy, growing investor confidence. It's the anchor. Argentina also shows strong growth, projected CAGR around 23.8%. It suggests, a broader regional recovery and stabilization feeding into the capital markets.
So it sounds like the bigger economies are doing well. Are there any particularly fast growers or maybe areas lagging a bit?
Well, Colombia stands out with a projected CAGR over 24%, so it's definitely a high-growth player. Probably linked to economic reforms, attracting foreign investment, maybe in resources or infrastructure, and modernizing its financial sector.
Okay, Colombia's punching above its weight a bit.
Seems so. But interestingly, the rest of South America category, so the smaller markets, not individually listed, shows a noticeably lower CAGR. It's projected at 18.431%.
No, that is a contrast. So much slower than Brazil, Argentina, Colombia.
Yeah. It suggests that while the larger economies are maybe doing a better job attracting capital, some of the smaller neighbors might be facing more challenges. Maybe political instability, less developed regulations, smaller domestic investor pools. Something is holding their aggregate growth back compared to the leaders.
That's insightful. Shows the growth isn't uniform even within a generally strong region. Okay, next up, the Middle East. The report says it's surging towards quite a significant valuation.
It certainly is. The Middle East region started at around $12 billion in 2021, projected to hit over $164 billion by 2033. And its regional SECO-GR is strong, 24.307%. So again, outpacing North America and Europe slightly, this region is really undergoing a major economic transformation.
And Saudi Arabia is leading that charge, right? Highest growth in the region.
Exactly. Saudi Arabia's projected CIGR is almost 25%, 24.948% to be precise.
Wow. And that's tied to their big diversification plans.
Yeah.
Vision 2030.
Directly. They're pouring money into moving the economy beyond oil, tourism, tech, entertainment, renewables. And the Tadawul Exchange is central to attracting the capital for that, both domestic and foreign. Lots of new listings, lots of investment flowing in.
So those big strategic plans we read about are clearly showing up in the exchange numbers.
Yeah.
What about other key players there, like the UAE or Qatar?
Very similar stories. The UAE's KJGR is just under 25%. Qatar's is over 24%. Both are pushing hard to become regional, even global, hubs for finance and business. Think about Dubai, Abu Dhabi. They're constantly improving regulations, pushing fintech, attracting big companies. That boosts their local exchanges.
Makes sense.
And Turkey and Egypt also show robust growth, both around 24% CAGR. Large domestic markets, strategic locations. The main takeaway for the Middle East is this strategic shift, using sovereign wealth, using their location to build more diversified modern economies, with the stock exchanges playing a really key role in funding it all.
A powerful narrative of transformation. Okay, and now for the final region in our tour, Africa, which the report calls the absolute leader in growth potential.
That's the headline, yes. Africa started at about $11.5 billion in 2021. The projection for 2033, just under $200 billion, $198 billion.
Almost $200 billion out from an $11.5 billion start. That sounds
The highest regional XGR of them all, 26.289%.
26.3%. Wow. Okay, that is genuinely incredible. That's significantly higher than any other region.
It really is. And Nigeria is leading that charge within Africa. Its projected CAGR is almost 27%, 26.978%.
Nearly 27% for Nigeria alone. What's driving that, do you think?
Likely a combination of its huge young population, a really fast-growing digital economy, especially in fintech, and increasing foreign investment interest.
Okay, and South Africa, still a major player.
Absolutely. South Africa's projected CAGR is also incredibly high, over 26.5%. It's established institutions, diversified economy. It's still a major gateway and attracts significant investment. What's really striking about Africa is this robust growth across key economies. It suggests real development happening, better regulation, growing investor classes, serious capital market deepening.
And the rest of Africa, is it keeping pace?
The rest of Africa category also shows healthy growth, nearly 23% CAGR. So while Nigeria and South Africa are maybe sprinting ahead, there's broad momentum across the continent, even if it's varied. It's not just one or two hotspots. It feels like a wider shift.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this a bit for you, our listener. We've gone around the globe, looked at a lot of numbers, but what's the core message? It seems clear that while growth is strong almost everywhere, certain areas are really accelerating, aren't they? They're sprinting ahead, potentially shifting where wealth gets created in the future. Just to recap those specific high flyers mentioned in the report summary, Africa leads all regions, CAGR over 26%, with Nigeria close to 27%. Then Mexico, fastest in North America at over 25%. And in Asia-Pacific, Taiwan and India, both around 25%.
And thinking about why these specific places are growing so fast raises a really important question, doesn't it? It's about the underlying factors, the economic shifts, the demographic changes, the specific regulations or industrial strengths that allow this kind of rapid expansion. Is it nearshoring in Mexico, that digital revolution in India, chip dominance in Taiwan? Understanding those drivers is probably key to figuring out where future opportunities might lie.
Absolutely. It gives you so much more context than just the raw percentages. Well, we have definitely taken a deep dive into some truly eye-opening numbers today, tracing this incredible path for global stock exchanges. Just remembering that headline forecast, the total market crossing way over $3.6 trillion by 2033. It's a staggering figure. But, it's not just about the money itself, is it? It's about how capital is moving around the planet, where new centers of wealth might be emerging, and just how interconnected, how dynamic our financial world has become.
Exactly. And if you connect all this to the really big picture, this rapid expansion, especially in these emerging, diversifying markets like we've seen in Africa, the Middle East, parts of Asia, and Latin America, it really does suggest a kind of global rebalancing, doesn't it? A rebalancing of economic power, of opportunity. This growth isn't uniform. It's concentrated in specific areas with specific drivers. So, the question I think we should leave you with is this: how might these different growth speeds, this rise of new financial powerhouses, how might that reshape global investment strategies over the next decade? And maybe even how could it influence international relations? It's a fundamental shift to think about what the implications might be down the road.
Indeed. A really profound thought to carry forward. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Global Stock Exchange's market report. We hope these insights help you navigate the financial world of tomorrow with a bit more clarity. Until next time on the Deep Dive.